Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the May 2nd Post Falls City Council meeting. Shannon, please note that councilors are all present with the exception of Councilor Malloy, who is excused tonight. I don't have any ceremonies, announcements, appointments, or presentations tonight. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
There are none tonight, sir.
Are there any declarations of conflict?
No.
Please present the consent calendar.
Item A is minutes from the April 18th, 2023 City Council meeting. Item B is payables, April 11th through April 24th, 2023. Item C is grant of water line easement to Ross Point Water District. Item D is fiscal year 24 public transportation contribution. Item E is February 2023 cash and investments. Item F is street division disposal of vehicle lift. Item G is Brightly Mutual confidentiality agreement for Parks Division to test operations software. Item H is police department asset disposal of totaled patrol vehicle. Item I is retirement of K-9 Duco from the police department. Item J is Creative Storage Solutions plat application. And item K, purchase of compact track loader with attachments by the Parks Division.
Shelley, on item D, the public transportation contribution, it was a 3% increase. Was that built into our budget?
Jason has included that in the budget request. Department heads just recently met and went over the total requests, and we'll be meeting again to review and make sure those are all accurate. It's in that total package.
But it falls within that. Yeah. Any other questions? Entertain a motion.
I'd move for approval of the consent calendar as presented.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion. Roll call, please.
Shove,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Thorson,
Aye.
Borders,
Aye.
Ziegler.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next item up is public hearings. Tonight we have none, followed by unfinished business, returning ordinances and resolutions, and we do have two ordinances.
I would move to place the ordinance terminating the Center Point Urban Renewal District on its first and only reading by title only while under suspension of the rules.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion. Roll call, please.
Walker,
Aye.
Thorson,
Aye.
Borders,
Aye.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Shove,
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Mr. Wilson.
An ordinance of the City of Post Falls, Kootenai County, a municipal corporation of the state of Idaho, reciting a brief history of the Center Point Urban Renewal Plan approved pursuant to Post Falls Ordinance 1016, directing termination of the Central Point Urban Renewal revenue allocation established pursuant to Post Falls Ordinance 1016, authorizing city staff to take all steps to implement this ordinance, providing for appeal of conflicting ordinance provisions, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
I move to approve the ordinance terminating the Center Point Urban Renewal District and to direct the clerk to assign the appropriate number and that it is to be published by summary only.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion. Roll call, please.
Thorson,
Aye.
Borders,
Aye.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Shove,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next ordinance.
I move to place the ordinance terminating the East Post Falls Urban Renewal District on its first and only reading by title only while under suspension of the rules.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion. Roll call, please.
Borders,
Aye.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Shove,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Thorson,
Aye.
Motion passes. Mr. Wilson.
An ordinance of the City of Post Falls, Kootenai County, a municipal corporation of the state of Idaho, reciting a brief history of East Post Falls Urban Renewal Plan approved pursuant to Post Falls Ordinance 1017, directing termination of the East Post Falls Urban Renewal Revenue Allocation Area established pursuant to Post Falls Ordinance 1017, authorizing city staff to take all steps to implement this ordinance, providing for appeal of conflicting ordinance provisions, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
I move to approve the ordinance terminating the East Post Falls Urban Renewal District and to direct the clerk to assign the appropriate number and that it be published by summary only.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Shove,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Thorson,
Aye.
Borders,
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Shelley, what does that bring us up to? About 6 closed districts now? Don't
That
mean to
would
put you on
be-
the spot, but it's pretty
yeah.
close to 6, I think.
Yeah.
We've got to probably be the lead in the state of districts closed, I would think.
probably close, so once they changed the regulations where you had to actually close districts, some of the part down in Boise, those have started closing
Yeah.
now, so eventually they will exceed the number that we've closed.
Yeah, so good to get them done and get them closed. Tonight, under new business, we have none. So the next section on the agenda is citizens' issues.
Is it five?
And this section of the agenda is reserved for citizens wishing to address the council regarding city-related issues that are not on the agenda. Anyone wishing to testify, please come forward. Seeing none. Administrative staff reports, population density.
Let's try. Good. I'm Bob Seal, Community Development Director. I'm glad that we've got a pretty open evening. This should only take me half hour, 45 minutes. No.
You're awesome.
6 to 8 minutes is what I was told, so I'm pretty close to that. So I just wanted to cover this. A couple of weeks ago, there was an article in the press that called out the densities within Kootenai County as what it could look like in 2045. And there were assumptions under that weren't necessarily discussed, so I just kind of wanted to clarify what really we're looking at here. Kootenai County's by the number. This was the article. You can't really read it, I know. This is just kind of a summation that she was pulling up, he or she, sorry, the author. And she had a lot of good facts in there. She had, or the author had, the indication that yes, the area has grown. Post Falls and Rathdrum grew around 10% each, for 20 and 21. Kootenai County grew probably around 12,000 people in the last couple of years. So yes, we have seen quite a bit of growth. And the number that the author threw out there for density by square mile by the year 2040, putting Post Falls at about 6,300 persons per square mile. And then she went on to compare it to other cities and comparing what those cities are at per square mile. And when you see that type of comparison, you wonder, well, that seems, kind of crazy, right? Potentially, because for one thing, yeah, we know what Boise's like, we know what Spokane's like. Do many people here know what Schenectady, New York is like? I don't know. I've been to Buffalo, and we're nothing like Buffalo. So went ahead and put some, I did reach out to her and asked, where did you get your data? Where are you pulling this? And she sent back a couple of screenshots from our own comprehensive plan. So yes, it is true. We do have certain numbers scheduled out for population growth. And the comprehensive plan at that time was looking at a growth projection at 4.8% by 2040 would be around 103,908. That's in our comprehensive plan. That number has now been modified because growth has actually slowed a little bit in terms of what they look at over that 20-year horizon, and is down to more like 89,000 or 90,000 by 2040. So in the end, I also know that if you just Google the square miles of Post Falls, it's not going to give you an accurate number that it hasn't been updated in a while. So I did ask a staff member to provide me with the square miles of Post Falls, and then we kind of looked at, well, we're actually growing. So in 2018, around the time that the comprehensive plan was underway, for one, the square miles of Post Falls was 15.2. And we had a population of around 35,000 people. And that put us at, about 2,300 people per square mile. The city has since grown in size as well as population. So we are now at, in 2023, 18.6 square miles with a population of approximately 45.9. That puts it at 2,468. We also went ahead and took out parkland and the land application sites because those are areas that won't be developed. So you don't necessarily want to look at those types of properties in your actual density, or you can, but sometimes it's something to consider. So we pulled that out, and we came up with a different square miles, and then again applied the same simple math to come up with the persons per square mile. Again, in this situation, ranging from 27-26 in 2018 up to 28-27 now. One of the assumptions that her article does not consider is the increase in land area, and that's really the key point that she didn't necessarily take into consideration when trying to make that presumption of the density at 6,300 people. Based on our zoning regulations, based on how we've been developing and the patterns of development, we really can't hit 6,300 people per square mile. It's just not possible within our current regulations, within the regulations that are in place because of a comprehensive plan. So there's continued expectation that the city will grow not only in population but in land area, and therefore leave you with a density level that's a little more along the lines of what we're at now. You know, it probably won't grow that, it won't get that much more dense on a whole. So I just wanted to answer, or just kind of have that information available to you, because that article could be seen as a little inflammatory. So, any
Thanks, Bob.
questions?
The big issue, and you have addressed it, and it was in one of your first slides, is without adding land area.
Yep.
And as you said, there's no way we could grow that level without adding it, so I thought that the point was very misleading, so I appreciate your clarification.
Absolutely.
Any other comments, questions?
Nope, I think that answers it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, guys.
Mayor and council comments tonight, I have none. How about council?
None.
We do not need an executive session.
We do not.
That's gonna be one of the quickest ones. That's-
6:12 is what my phone says. Yeah.
Next motion is,
Move to adjourn.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.